Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's session on Embedded Chat with Amazon Quick. I'm Salim Khan, Gen AI Solutions Architect at AWS. And for today's agenda, we will do an overview of Quick first, and then we'll do a brief overview of Quick embedding itself and what are the advantages and what different types of embedding that we have, and then dive deep into the meat of the topic today, which is embedding chat with Amazon Quick. I'm going to do a live demo of the different capabilities of the embedding chat that we have. And then from there, pass on some learning resources, and we'll see if there's any time towards the end to take a live Q&A, or if you run out of time, then basically what Miley suggested is that post your questions on the community, type it out. We'll basically answer all those questions in the community itself. So just do a quick overview of where the industry is and how we're leading towards it, right? So research shows that we are at a critical inflection point. As you can see on the slides, that Gartner predicts 15% of day-to-day work decisions will be made autonomously by AI agents in the next 3 years. A lot of enterprises will incorporate Agentic AI by 2028, which is like more than 82% of organizations plan to integrate that within the next 3 years. While a lot still remains unknown about this technology's ultimate direction, one thing is clear: AI-first enterprises will operate fundamentally differently from today's organizations. Some tasks will become exponentially easier. Entirely new functions we haven't yet imagined will emerge. In these rapidly changing times, we built our strategy around constants, things we believe won't change. That is lower prices, fast delivery, and a vast selection of features. Right? So the question isn't whether to adopt these technologies or not, but how to do so effectively. Does this seem familiar, right? We see that an employee is taxed on a day-to-day basis every time they have to switch context. Business users waste time gathering data across multiple applications. This leads to fragmented workday, reducing efficiency, and lacks full insights to make decisions. So our vision for Amazon Quick is derived from those challenges. It's an agentic AI product that truly reimagines the way we work in the AI era. What makes Amazon Quick different is that it unifies business insights, research, and automation all in one intuitive AI product. So Amazon Quick offers you value in a few core areas, and we'll touch into this later on in the slides too. You can get answers you need quickly or using all your data. It provides an integrated, secure view of a company's entire corpus of knowledge that eliminates the context switching that fragments productivity and ensures users can quickly gain insights and immediately translates those into insights into actions itself. To see how Quick Suite, if you're familiar with QuickSight, that was before, okay, to see how Quick Suite now implements the AI BI framework, I want to show you a journey from traditional self-service BI to what we call now as Agentic BI, where AI doesn't just help you analyze data, it becomes your intelligent partner in discovering insights and taking actions. So let's start with the traditional BI challenges. Okay. So where we've been, traditional BI follows this linear path. You connect to it through data sources, create data sets, then build analysis, and finally get to dashboards. It works, but it has its limitations. You need to know what questions to ask up front. It's primarily structured data focused, right? You build insights requiring technical expertise, and then it's reactive. You build reports after you know what you're looking for. This is where Quick Suite changes everything. Okay. So if we look on the next side, which is next generation BI, which is Agentic AI, Quick Suite doesn't just work with your traditional structured data. It intelligently combines and understands structured data from your datasets and traditional sources, along with unstructured data from documents, emails, third-party knowledge pools, cloud storage, real-time connections across third-party systems. And Quick Suite's AI can automatically index, understand, and make connections across all these different data types. And along with combining your structured and unstructured data together, Okay. Quick Suite doesn't just stop at just combining the data, it transforms how you interact with the data itself, right? So we have native AI capabilities, starting with chat. So you have natural conversations with all your data. Then we have research that you can deep dive investigations that pull you from entire data ecosystem. Then we have flows that you can use to automate repetitive tasks that span multiple data sources and systems. And finally, automate to set up multi-agent automation for complex business processes. Okay. Then we seamlessly integrate all of this with extensions for your Slack, for your Outlook, for Word, right? And then underpinning it all, we have governance and security, right? So enterprise grade security built in with responsible AI, with access controls like row level and column level security, with data security, that is encryption at rest and in transit, with customer managed keys available, and we have compliance with data residency control with CloudTrail and integrity compliance frameworks, right? So just to give a closing on this, like Quick Suite just takes all the proven power of QuickSight's BI capabilities and extends them into this new paradigm. You keep everything that works, your dashboards, your data sets, your existing investments, but now Quick Suite's AI can work across all your data types and help everyone within the organization to discover insights and to take action regardless of the technical expertise. Okay. Now to dive into what Quick offers as embedding capabilities and why embedded analytics itself, right? So embedded analytics capability is focused to reduce technical complexity for you, right? So we are doing this by offering three significant advantages, starting from accelerating your time to market, then reducing ongoing expenditure by using existing AWS BI infrastructure, and then unlocking deep analytical capabilities by using embeddings, right? So you're able to now bring this all into your product differentiation to your application as a strategic asset, okay? And then bring all of this into a new monetization opportunity to your applications by offering advanced analytic capabilities as a premium pricing tier. So if you're familiar with QuickSight, we had certain embedding capabilities. Now we're just adding on more to it, right? So Quick brings multiple embedding experiences for all your analytical needs, right? So starting from interactive dashboards, you can embed interactive dashboards within your applications and portals. Then we bring in the self-serve authoring. They offer full QuickSight functionality to embed the whole console for your advanced users within your application itself. Then we have visual embedding that integrates specific visuals for focused insights. Then AI-powered Q&A to allow natural language queries for easy data exploration. We can also embed your pixel perfect reports, which are your CAN reports. And finally, embedded chat that we'll be diving deeper into. All of these different types offer seamless, secure access to your users. So moving on. So for today's topic, go through a quick architectural flow of how the chat experience works like and how the user flow looks like within embedding. If you're already familiar with the QuickSet embedding, you know how the APIs and one-click embedding works, right? So in a regular flow, we see that we have an authenticated user that comes into your application, opens up the app, right? And opens up the app in the client browser. The client browser basically requests a page, and then your application server makes an API call to Amazon Quick Suite to get the embedded URL, right? Once that embedded URL is returned, you can load the experience to your client and show the experience to your end user. So this is a typical flow of and embedding Quick within your portal itself, right? For Quick Amazon Quick embedded chat experience, right now we're only supporting authenticated users. That's why we have authenticated users in front. But for other experiences, we do have capability to do anonymous embedding also, right? But for embedded chat, we're just using authenticated user experience. Okay. So what are some of the prerequisites for embedding chat with Quick? Okay. So you have to have an AWS account with Amazon Quick enabled. Once you have that, you create a role with, like any other service that we have. When trying to invoke APIs, you need to have a role with correct policies that you can invoke these actions to embed it into your portal. Right? Once you have that role and your application, you allow list your domain that your application runs on. that is allowed listed within the portal itself. Then you can also create integrations like the Jira or MCP. This is optional, but you can create integrations that we offer with Amazon Quick right now. And those integrations can be invoked through the chat experience itself. And you'll see that in the demo today. Okay. Once you have created those integrations, then you actually create a chat agent, right? You have a default My Assistant that I'm going to show you too. But if you want to create a custom chat agent that you want to embed, you have to create the chat agent as a prerequisite before embedding. Okay. As mentioned before, today it is only available for registered users. Okay. So what are the different types of embedding that you can do with the chat experience, right? So we offer you one-click enterprise embedding. That is a low-code, no way of getting the embed code directly from the chat agent and then plugging it into an iframe within your portal, like a SharePoint portal or a Google site, within a single click, right? As long as your user is authenticated, you'll be able to use that embedded chat experience with a single click. Okay. And then if you require more control, more functionality that you can want to customize using the SDK, then we offer API-based for registered user embedding. A one-click enterprise embedding, as mentioned, you can go directly to the chat agent and then copy the embed URL, okay, and plug it into your portal. But for API-based embedding, we offer quite a few functionalities, right? So what we do as a process step, right? So first we generate and extract a secure embed URL using the API, which is the API that we've used before for registered users, the generate embed URL for registered users. And we just pass in the experience configuration parameter as quick chat. Once we get the URL, then we use the QuickSight embedding SDK, and the SDK has different parameters that you configure to load that experience, right? So the embedding SDK has two parameters, the frame options and the content options. The frame options takes in the URL that you received from making a call to the application server and to Quick in the previous step. Then once that URL is contained, you put it into the container of the frame options DOM element object. And then we have the content options, right? So initially, when we had launched this right before reInvent, we had a fixed ANTI. So if you implemented it already before, the fixed ANTI still works, but it's soon to be replicated. What we're offering right now as agent options, you can actually define the fixed agent ID within the agent options itself, right? So instead of defining the ARN, we are providing you a new parameter called agent options, and then you give and pass in the agent ID. But this is an optional parameter. If you don't give an agent ID, it picks up your default My Assistant. Okay, and then we give you certain prompt options right now as part of the SDK handle itself. So you can define the initial prompt that when the chat agent loads, that can be passed. You can enable file attachments or disable file attachments. You can show agent knowledge boundary and show web services. These different parameters that you can configure within the prompt options itself. Okay. And then we have certain parameters within the footer options to show and hide the brand attribution or the usage policy, right? So these are different parameters, SDK parameters and attributes that you can use while using the registered API-based embedding itself. Okay. Now moving on to the demo. If you're seeing QuickSight console for the first time, I've logged into the AWS console and then clicked on Quick, okay, Quick Suite, and then I go into the Quick Home. On the left-hand side, we see certain navigation menus that we have, right? So this is traditional QuickSight for BI capabilities that we had before. We offer some integrations and all the AI capabilities on top, right? So as I mentioned before, like the first step that we need basically to embed chat is either use the My Assistant. So My Assistant is the default chat assistant that comes along with your account. As soon as you sign up Quick Suite and you have a professional or enterprise license, right? You will by default get the My Assistant. So My Assistant has information and access to all of the different assets that you have access to within Quick Suite itself, right? But that being said, you can also go ahead and create custom chat agents for your end users to use and access, right? So in this example, I've created an automated AI assistant, which has some data for automotive sales across US, some sample data, and then it has some unstructured data also in it. So I'll quickly click on here, see how this chat agent look like. And click on edit. So this is all the different configuration parameters that you can provide when you're creating a chat agent, right? So you can give it a persona, you can give it some reference documents, provide a knowledge source, right? So I've created a space, which is basically a boundary for the contextual information I can put in that my team has access to. Okay, so I've created a quick automated data hub and I've linked that knowledge source to my chat agent. And then I have these 4 actions that I've configured over here. I've created an MCP action, which is a knowledge base for AWS knowledge server, right? And then I have a Jira and a Slack integration that I've configured here too. I can also customize it to have certain default messages on my chat that you can see on top over here. Okay, and some suggested prompts over here that can initially, when it loads, it shows you the suggested prompts for your end users, right? So once I've made this configuration, I can launch and it creates an agent, right? So I've already done this before. We'll start with, once we have this agent already configured, right? With one-click embedding, right? So how you do one-click embedding is come to the agent, click on share, and then you'll see that I have shared via embed. Okay, and it gives me this code from here. I can quickly click on copy and embed the code from here. Okay, and then use this to embed it into my portal. Okay. So I have a sample SharePoint portal that I've created. Okay, so if we see over here, I have this SharePoint portal which has my automotive annual report that I built using Pixel Perfect Report in QuickSight itself. Okay, so what I want to do is basically give users access to basically interact with this report or even the whole AI assistant over here, right? So my chat, as you can see, is on my right side. So the way I embedded this is if I click on edit, I click on the code over here, you see the same code that I had shown over there. Okay, I just plug this code into this widget, which is the iframe widget out here. Okay, and then once it's done, it comes to my portal. I can publish it over here. What it requires is, if right now I'm logged in, if I'm not logged in, it will give you a login window. And once you're authenticated, it will just put it back into your portal itself, right? And now I can just ask it questions. Let's say summarize. Okay, and it behaves as it behaves on your quick console itself, right? So you'll see it just goes through all of the knowledge that I have, information that is there within the agent itself, explores all the information, and this is gathering different information from here, right? So once all the information is gathered, it'll give me total sales revenues. This and represents aggregate sales across all of the different transaction types. It'll give me a visual. I can view it over here, right? So see how quickly, just by copying the code, embedded code from the chat agent itself and plug it into your SharePoint portal or Google site, wherever you have an application that requires low code, no code interactivity, you just plug this in. As long as you're authenticated, you can now interact with the chat agent within your portal itself. Cool. So this is one-click embedding. Now, moving on to the registered user or the API-based embedding, which offers you a lot more customization, right? Okay. So the first step, basically, what happens is when you are creating. So what I've done right now is move this to the side. Okay. So what I've done is to mimic my application server, actually have a Lambda function written that can connect to my account that has Amazon Quick in it, and then basically get the embedded URL first, right? So my Lambda is basically mimicking my application server. We see over here, well, as mentioned before on the presentation, right? So what you need is a registered user. So you need the user ARM who has access to that chat agent. Okay, my account ID for configuration, and we just configure the experience as quick chat. So this experience changes based on the different type of embedding that you do in Amazon Quick itself. Like for dashboards is different, for visual embedding is different. So for the chat experience, we configure it as quick chat. Okay. So once I have configured these parameters using the QuickSight client, I make this call like generate embed URL for registered users, passing these parameters. Okay, and then the embedded URL is returned by my application, right? So this Lambda code basically mimics my application server, Okay, and then I have code that I wrote, a simple basic HTML page that I have that I've created, that can show you the different capabilities of SDK and how it is invoked, right? So make sure that we have the latest SDK that you can get from our SDK portal itself, right? Once that is the latest SDK is part of a script, okay, I have the sample HTML page that I've created on top that invokes my Lambda function, right? Okay, and once that is the URL is received, the two different parameters that the SDK offers, the frame options and the content options, I just configure it quickly out here, right? So the frame options basically takes in my URL, it puts into the container, and once it is loaded into the container, right, that's when I can go ahead and start configuring my different content options that I have. I see over here, see, like I mentioned for the one-click embedding, I actually copied the chat agent ID itself. The whole quick automotive chat agent was embedded. If I don't provide a fixed agent ID, I have an option to provide that ID, but if I don't provide that, it'll by default take the My Assistant. Can give you access to the different chat agents that you have access to, right? So in this case, I'm not providing any agent ID over here. The prompt options, right? I've configured allow file attachments as false. Okay, and I actually provided an initial prompt also saying that, okay, what is flow? So as soon as my chat agent loads, it will invoke this initial prompt on the load itself, right? And I'm leaving all these parameters like show in agent knowledge body as true, web searches as true. The photo options I also have let it as basically true, but I can make this all as false if I don't have the requirement to show these different features within the experience itself, right? So these are all different parameters that we can actually work with and attributes and work with the embedding SDK, right? So I've written this code simple HTML page, right? And then I've deployed this using an amplify function, right? So basically created an amplify portal over here, okay? And I deployed that file with using that HTML page that I have that invokes the Lambda, and it's deployed out here, right? Once I deploy it and amplify, it gives me the domain over here. What I need to do is I need to make sure that this domain is basically accessible within Quick itself, right? So the way you configure that is you can go to your manage account and then click on manage domains. Okay, and you basically add the domain over here. So all of these domains are different added over here, right? So this is important. If you don't have these domains added, then it will get an error while loading the chat experience itself, right? So the domain is configured. So you have your permissions, you have the Lambda function, you have the web front portal out here, and then once your domain is allowed listed, then you can basically go ahead and start interacting with it, right? So if I click on this chat assistant that I have pulled from here, click on the URL. Okay, so it basically loads, loading. It's a very basic, simple application that I have headed to it. It's invoking that call right now. It gets the embedded URL, right? And within this portal below here, you see that it has loaded my chat experience, and I haven't clicked anything. It by default prompted this what is flows because I had that as the initial prompt, right? And it quickly gives me a summary of what is flows. It defines what it is, okay, and it gives you the sources where it actually get right. And see, since I didn't provide an agent ID, but default is my assistant, right? But if I have access to all the other different agents that have been shared with me or I've created, I'll be able to select this and interact with it in a more contextual manner, right? If I'm looking to only embed a certain agent in my portal, right, that's where I can pass in the fixed agent ID, and then I won't be able to toggle between the different agents, right? So if it's only a single agent ID, you pass in the parameter, otherwise defaulted to the My Assistant, right? As mentioned, it should quickly show you on the portal that created. I'll go back. This card. Okay, and I have created that MCP agent over here that basically points to, this is a public knowledge base that we have that basically gives back a couple of APIs, right? The search documentation, and it gives a list of regions and KD documentation that has knowledge based over here, right? Okay, so now if I ask it a question like get details of a well-architected framework from the AWS Knowledge MCP server, right? The name is different, but I have put the description that as my Knowledge MCP server, and I posted. So now the chat, as long as I have access to the integration information, right? It basically is making sure that it's calling this from there. The MCP server integration action is invoked, okay, and it gives me the 6 pillars, an overview of the MCP agent that is there. Okay, who should be using it, right? So not just being able to chat with your different resources, you can invoke actions from the quick chat portal itself. Below out here, if you see over here, I had disabled the file attachment icon, right? So it doesn't show up. This is the web search. If I want to disable the web search, I can quickly go ahead and just turn this to false, right? And then my web search will disappear. So all of these configuration parameters are basically within the chat portal itself. Right, so you have different configuration parameters. To learn more about the chat agent, right? We can actually, it has access to your history of what you've been asking questions to. If it has multiple sources, it gives you where that information is coming from. And then you can actually copy this. You can provide a thumbs up, thumbs down from here, and you can provide feedback. If you don't like the response, or if you're seeing something that you wanted to appear differently is appearing differently, you can provide feedback too. Okay? And then it generates all these response events that you can see how exactly basically it got to that particular answer that you're looking for. And then it gives you a path to validation. Right. So quickly summarize, right? So we did one-click embedding that you can use to put into your portal, directly share it from there, and then the API-based embedding in which you can actually generate the URL and use all SDK, different SDK parameters to be able to put it into this your own portal, right? And to give you a quick look at how this looks like in a whole themed way, right? So you created the sample application that is deployed, right? That has different experiences for all the different types of embedding that we have. So this is the dashboard embedding. Steps of embedding shows you the console. Now, if you click on the toggle chat, we have this dashboard that is built off the wine sales agent. And then you can basically embed that and then customize the whole look and feel to match your portal's look and feel, right? And then interact with it, let your users interact with it in a way that they are within the application itself, right? So this is a quick overview of how the new embedding chat experience works, because it's currently available for registered users only.